Hi, thanks for joining me for another video and welcome back to the channel. I am in Automobilista 2 today because we have got some brand new content to play with. Recently, Reza Studios added GT1 cars to their roster, and we've also got a new track, which is Spa. Now, Spa comes as part of a DLC, which means you've got to buy it, but that's fine by me. I don't really care. I'm quite happy to support them. The game's excellent and it's just getting better and better. So the purposes of this video is I want to take those new GT1 cars around Spa and see what they're like. Stay tuned. So firstly, we have got Spa. Now this is the 2020 layout and apparently it is laser scanned according to the release notes. They're also going to add other layouts in future. We've only got the one to play with at the moment. And as far as the cars go, we've got three offerings in the new GT1 category: the Porsche 911 GT1 98, the Mercedes CLK LM, and the McLaren F1 GTR. So I'm going to start with the Porsche, do a few laps around Spa, see what it's like, and then I'm just going to switch cars as we go along. Right, so here we are in the Porsche. Quick look around the interior. It's pretty cool in here. It's actually really detailed. Feels nice and small as well. The cockpit feels kind of like an LMP1 car. It's got that sort of confined sense of space in here. It's a sequential gearbox and the shifter is down there to my right. I'm just going to use my paddles today though. And yeah, there's a whole heap of other details, switches and the like. Windscreen wiper works. Trying to find the lights, just see what lights up there. We've got hazards light up and the dash lights up. Not sure about anything else, we'd have to race this thing in the dark to find out. So let's go and give Spa a little look and see how the Porsche goes. This is a really interesting car actually. It feels very reminiscent of an LMP1 car, but it's sort of it's got a more kind of, I don't know, stanced feeling about it. Driving it here in VR. The mirror there though that I'm looking at right now on my driver's side mirror is completely obscured by the A-pillar. Got a warning for crossing the line. I'm thinking that I actually have to go down here before I join the track rather than just jumping on back there, because that's what we've got to do in the GT3 series. But you know what, to hell with the speed limit. It goes well. So this is propelled by a flat 6 and it kind of sounds like it as well. It's got a very lethargic sound to it, which I find is common with all the Porsche cars. Spa feeling very familiar already, which is nice. I'm really glad they added this track to Automobilista 2. It's one of my absolute favourites. So the car actually feels quite light. Steering wise, it hasn't got a hell of a lot of weight going on when I come into the corners, and I'm not pushing it by any stretch of the imagination right now, but I would expect it, the downforce would have given me a lot more feeling in the steering. But that's not to say the steering's devoid of feeling. It certainly isn't. There's a lot of information. I can feel what the front of the car's doing. And to some extent, although I haven't really provoked it yet, but I can feel what the rear of the car's doing as well. So the sound of the car is pretty nice, to be honest with you. There's quite a bit of weight going into that fast corner back there, but again, a lot of information. And as I come down to the bus stop, I can feel the steering twitching around and the braking as the front wheels struggle for grip. coming through turn 1. It's really good fun to drive, this is. I'm not going to try en route flat out. So again, a lot of information on curves as well. So I think the force feedback on this car is pretty good, which is kind of what you expect with AMS2. But I've got to say, it does feel light. My force feedback settings aren't set low or anything. I've got them gains at around 60 in the game, and I can't remember what it is on the wheelbase, but it's, as I said, it's not set low. Loads of detail on it over that curb. Oh, this car is just going to deliver some really excellent racing. See if we can get through here flat out, and we can. Oops, I'm busy looking at the dashboard and not looking where I'm going. I'm amazed at the detail in here. It's really, really good. Yeah, so as coming through there, I just kept my foot flat to the floor, and the steering did load up. Oh, and we've lost it. That was too much brakes and too much steering angle coming in to the bus stop there. So I've got a feeling that this car will try to kill you if you push it. So let's do that. Let's try to push it and see how hard it is to control. There's loads of rear end action then. So I don't believe I've got any traction control or anti-brake, so anti-lock brakes. So my settings are set to authentic. So this car wouldn't have had those kind of driver aids, which means I don't have them in game. Try and push it harder this time. So yeah, the engine does sound very lazy. That's it. Held onto the brakes way too late into that corner, and I'm not a very good driver, you may have gathered that by now. I love that little squeak that it's got as you change gear. I'm not sure if these were turbocharged, but it does sound a bit like a wastegate. It's absolutely joyous to drive though, it really is. It's precise. But yeah, you've got to be on it with your throttle and your brake action, because if you hang on to the brakes a little too long, it'll start going around, and you can feel it in the steering. And I can feel when the front wheels are letting go as well, grip wise. You can just, the steering is positive, and then all of a sudden it goes a little bit lighter. It's extremely precise on turning. It's absolutely fabulous. Okay, so let's jump in the Merc and see how that compares. So the next car up is the Mercedes CLK LM, and this is 600 horsepower and 1059 kilograms, again with a 6-speed sequential. So it's a little bit more powerful than the Porsche, which had 580, but it weighs a fraction more. Let's go and see what it's about. Right, so already this thing feels like a completely different animal. The seating position is on the left-hand side of the car rather than the right. The dash feels quite close, but feels more like the dash of a regular car, but in a very tight cockpit. Got a big old gear lever there fire extinguisher or something to that effect, and I just headbutted something. Switches and labels and stuff everywhere, and it's all really beautifully modelled, crystal clear with the Vive here. And this isn't even a very good headset anymore, considering the latest stuff. So on the reverb, this thing would probably look fantastic. But yeah, in here it does look absolutely fantastic. There's not a lot of detail back there. There's nothing really happening. Just lots of carbon fibre everywhere. Wing mirrors halfway up the A pillars. It's quite kind of interesting. That one is a little bit harder to. You've got to really crane your head around to get at it. Dash wise, yeah, we've got, not quite sure where the actual gear shift indicator is. There doesn't appear to be one, but never mind, finding that out. And of course we've got the 3-pointed star on the bonnet, which serves as an iron sights if you want to use it to aim at other cars. It's just my trick. Anyway, let's get on and see what this is like. Wowzers, this thing is a bit of a bruiser already. So engine-wise, it sounds completely different, and I forgot to look at the information about the car to understand what kind of engine layout it's got. But knowing Mercedes, it's probably a V8. You know what? We're just going to go down the track like this. Sounds like thunder. Oh wow, the steering is completely different to the Porsche. It's heavy. This thing is fantastic. I was right about the gear shift indicator. There is none. So that's 6th gear. It feels heavy though into the corners. Turning doesn't feel as precise as it did with the Porsche. Of course, that might just be my driving in more capable hands. It's probably a bit of a scalpel. Although I'd probably describe it right now as a sledgehammer attached to a nuclear bomb. It is fantastic fun though. It really gives you a sense of theatre. It does like to push wide a little more than the Porsche. And there's a bit of rear end action there as well, so again the steering is very communicative of what the front and the rear of the car is doing. We just got a lot more weight with this one. I prefer that. I like it. It gives me more confidence. I think that's first, no idea. Lots of wheel spin. Of course, again, we don't have any driver aids, but it really gives you the information about what the rear of the car's doing. You can just feel the steering yanks you in the other direction as the rear end starts to rotate. This thing is an absolute weapon. I'm absolutely loving this. I like the view I've got over the front of the car as well. It feels like I'm sitting a little higher up than I did in the Porsche, but I can also pinpoint those apexes and really try and get the car on them, or as close to them as I'm able. Yeah, just as I come off the brakes, it wants to pivot around the front. God, this thing is incredible. This is... I mean, I don't know how it compares in terms of speed. And again, you'd probably need a more capable driver to tell you that, but in terms of enjoyment, it's an absolute thrill ride. It's intoxicating. I love the sound of the gearbox as well, just whining away. The mechanics of the thing sound like it's alive. It's just brilliant. Yeah, this thing's just putting a massive smile on my face. It's absolutely fantastic. Right, I could gush about this all day and probably just spin around here all day in this. I'm having a right blast. But we've done a couple of laps, and I think it's time to have a look at what the McLaren's like. In a minute. Right, so next up is the McLaren, the F1 GTR, and this is a V12. Actually, what was the Mercedes? It's a V8, so I was right. They usually put V8s in their stuff, don't they? The Mercedes, and they've got absolute tremendous engines. So we're into a V12 now, a rear-wheel drive. I don't know why I said that so surprised. I think they're all rear-wheel drive. Again, we've got a 6-speed sequential, 600 horsepower, and this time we're a little bit lighter. So this is, on paper, going to be the fastest machine because we've got just as much power as the Merc, but we're lighter than the both of them. I think we've got more torque as well. Yeah, we've got more torque too. So let's go and see what this thing's like. Right, well, straight off the bat, this car feels just utter quality. So we're sat in the middle, as we would be in the McLaren F1, the road-going version. If looking back here, we've actually got the remnants of the two passenger seats that the F1 had. Obviously there's no actual seats there, but there's just the carbon tubs where they would have been located. And then we've got all this detail. We've got, I guess they're ECUs, cables, wiring looms everywhere, switches all down the side there, holes where the speakers would be in the road car. It's fantastic, isn't it? I'm not sure what that is. Fire extinguisher or nitrous, maybe. Nah. So yeah, this is really, really cool. We've got the full display there. Although I can't see it when I'm sitting like upright, I can't see the top of it. We've got, I guess, there change lights at the top there. Nicely lit in blue, so this will be fun to race in the dark. The mirrors are, from where I'm sitting now, partially obscured by the A-pillars, so you've got to really kind of crane your face around to look at them. So I think racing this, you'd be highly reliant on crew chief, and of course there's no rear view mirror because, well, there's no rear window. There's nothing to look through. You're driving a van. Anyway, let's get this out on track and see what it's like. So this is a big engine, a V12. Is it a V12? Yeah, it's a V12. Ooh. So it sounds pretty racy. Yeah, there's the change lights, although can't see them. Completely obscured by the steering wheel. Oh, this is something else. Okay. Steering wise, it's got the same weight as the Merc, but it feels as precise as the Porsche. Oh, a little bit too fast into there, Jimbo. So again, I've got this really good position over the car, sitting bang smack in the middle. It's almost like being in an open wheeler. As you can see, I can't hit an apex to save my life. I'm kind of struggling to think of something to say about this thing. It's pretty impressive. I think it's actually it's got this wonderful sense of theatre about it. The engine is eager. it feels very eager to please, to go, you know. So it's got precision, and the steering really does inspire confidence. It doesn't feel light at all. It feels planted. I think I braked a little bit too late into the bus stop there, but loads of rear end action. Once more, we don't have driver aids, but again, the steering's capable of telling me exactly what the rear end of the car is doing. And again, on the front end, it's also communicating where the grip is. But there's something about the wail of this engine. It feels like it reminds me of an actual F1 car, that kind of high level of precision. Where the Mercedes felt like a brute force machine, you know. This feels more like a proper scalpel. Kind of like the Porsche, but it's got more personality than the Porsche. I'm not a big fan of flat configuration engines unless it's in the Scooby, but this seems to have a life of its own. I wouldn't say it's as fun as the Merc, but I think I could do better in this car than I could the Mercedes. I think in a racing situation the Mercedes would kill me. I'm really enjoying this version of Spa as well. It feels fantastic. Screwed that corner up a lot, but in no any matter. I do find it's got longer gear ratios than the other two. I'm not sure if that's true, because I would have thought that the gear ratios would have to be regulated for the class. I'm not sure if that applies to these, maybe only the GT3 cars. But I find I don't seem to get into sixth very often. Again, it's the kind of car that you can't really chuck about. If you start misbehaving in it, it's going to let you know. But it's fantastic to drive. I think out of the three of them, this might be my favourite. I think I'd have more fun in the Mercedes, but for just a racing machine, I think this is the one for me. Yeah, you can really feel where the front end grip is. Just coming through these long sweeping corners, I can kind of balance the car on where I think it's going to start pushing wide. I feel like I've got to concentrate on this a little bit more. With the Merc, I was just having a blast, and with the Porsche, I was kind of underwhelmed with the Porsche, I've got to admit. But with this, I feel like I've got to be on it. I'm also getting a lot of road information through the steering with this car. It's even coming through the pedals as well. Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. Right, I think I'm going to leave it there and wrap up with a bit of conclusion. Cool, so there you go. Those are the 3 new additions to Automobilista 2, and this game's just getting better and better with every single update. These guys are really nailing it. The Spa circuit is fantastic. The 3 cars in general, the GT1s there, I think my personal preference would be the McLaren, but I would be so tempted to take that Mercedes for a blasted fires in a race situation, simply because it just had that sense of theatre about it. Really fun to drive. It just feels like you're driving a nuclear explosion, you know. It's just absolutely fantastic. But I think in terms of precision and speed, the McLaren has got it for me. I was a little underwhelmed with the Porsche though. It didn't feel quite right. It felt quite light compared to the other 2, and this is just a purely sort of subjective thing, but I'm not a fan of the drone or the flat 6 engine. Having said that, they have managed to reproduce it perfectly. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video there, so hope you found that informative. Thank you very much for watching, and if you've got any comments or questions or whatever, drop them in the box below and I shall do my best to answer them. Until next time though, thanks for watching, see you then.